Welcome to Live at 11. As far as I know, sometimes I have to check to find out if it's actually the day that I think it is, but I think it might be Tuesday. And if you can tell by the background, this is not our house. Molly and the kids and I drove up to Wisconsin to Molly's parents' lake house. And so we've been here for the last day or so, and we've been having just a really, really great time. So it's just good to get away and get a new context, a new scene, and things like that. So I hope you guys are doing well and having chances to get outside and get some refreshment and things like that. So I've been thinking about just life as it is in the season that we're in. And I have felt this feeling for many weeks now that my life has been sort of like reduced and reduced and reduced and simplified and simplified and simplified. I actually drew a picture of like this factoring thing that we used to do when I was in school. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's like the idea of factoring, and on top, if this is backwards, I can't tell if it's backwards in your screen, but it says 24, and then when you factor it, it's like, okay, what goes into 24? The biggest number is 12, 12 times 2, and then 6 times 2, and you factor it all the way down to the bottom until you have 2 to the third power times 3, and that's sort of like the most reduced form of that number 24. And I feel in some ways like my life has been reduced and reduced and reduced, and so many of the things that that I used to occupy myself with, and the things that used to be my life, have been stripped away. There are only a few things. So many of your routines and the structure of your lives have been reduced and stripped away, and for the first time in a long time, you and I might be able to look at the foundation of what we've been building our lives on. And it's very uncommon. We don't often get to look at the foundation of how we live our lives and how we've built our lives, and what what we rely on for our peace and our strength and that type of thing. And yet now that we don't have so many things to run off and to do, work and church on Sunday mornings and small groups and all these other things, our lives have been sort of boiled down to their essence, and we're left sort of thinking about this. I think that standing on, and I was thinking about Abraham, and Abraham had this kind of foundational moment. Many of the biblical Christians that we read about, or biblical followers of God that we read about, had their lives stripped away until they were standing on a foundation of one sort or another. But I want to read something to you. This is in Hebrews chapter 11, and I'm just going to read a couple of verses, and this will be meaningful to you. But it says this: by faith, this is the author of Hebrews writing this, by faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place that he would later receive as his inheritance, he obeyed and he went. Even though he did not know where he was going. But by faith, he made his home in a promised land, like a stranger in a foreign country. Incredible. Jesus just said, follow me. And there is something essential about that, isn't there? There's something incredibly simple about just saying, I am made to follow Jesus alone. And I was thinking about, how we have not been together in church for over a month. And for many of us, the Sunday become sort of the centerpiece of our faith. And in spite of the fact that I'm a pastor of a church and I have an incredible belief in the power of gathering up, the author of Hebrews said, don't forsake the gathering together of the saints, right? Don't give that up. However, if our connection with God, if our lives, if the centerpiece of our life is built upon the foundation of a Sunday morning gathering, then I believe that our foundation has a very, very serious crack. And what we have the opportunity to do in this season, because we may come back together again in a few weeks, Lord willing, right? We may come back together and things, Lord willing, will return to some semblance of what life was like before. But I want us to be able to be a person in a church that has built our life on the foundation that was crafted by God, that God himself built, where we are a people that simply follow Jesus. And one of the things that we know that Jesus told us is that grown accustomed to help puff up our relationship with God or to help make ourselves feel better, those things are going to be increasingly stripped away. And we've begun to feel that with COVID-19. Some of our helps and the niceties of our faith have been stripped away to discover who we really are and how deep is our connection, how deep is our love for God, and are we able to feed ourselves? Because if 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 Jesus is right, and I know that he is, we know that we are going to have to become self-feeders. We know that we're going to have a solid foundational connection with God that isn't handed to us by someone else. We're going to have a thing in him. And so I just want to encourage you guys. What kind of shape is your relationship with God in right now? What is the quality of your connection right now? Are you as warm and connected to God as you've ever been? Is your pressure that we're in? Or are you languishing a little bit? Are you challenged? Are you feeling empty because you've lost some of those things that have helped you to grow as a Christian? Well, church, Jesus said, follow me. That's a very, very personal thing. And I can't wait for us to get back together again. But now is the time where you and I get to discover what our faith is really made of and what it's really built upon. And if you are finding yourself really struggling with emptiness or struggling to connect with God, that's telling you that your foundation has some cracks in it. And I want to encourage you to return to God, to return to the word, to return to prayer, to return to stirring up your own heart, your own connection with him, that warmth, because you won't always have church service. You won't always have small groups. You won't always have people to be able to gather around you to help you make it along. Of course, we were created for all that, but there will come a time when that stuff goes away. And so our job is to be able to build our life on that foundation that was authored by God, that God is going to build on him alone, on putting our trust in him alone. So I don't know if I was particularly articulate about that, but strongly about that. One thing I wanted to tell you guys about, Molly, what was that thing you want me to tell them? Saturday, right? Yeah, so this Saturday, Molly's way back there. This Saturday, we are supporting our first line people, the medical personnel, the fire department, and the police department. We're putting 3 boxes on the front porch at Thrive Church at 845 East Glencoe. And in those boxes, we're just asking that you guys would put notes of encouragement, pictures, prophetic words, anything you want, but make them specific. So if you write to the police department, put your letter in, obviously, the police box, and we just want to cheer those guys on and encourage them. And let's just really be raw, powerful Christians. Let's just jump in with what the Holy Spirit is doing right now, because he's doing an amazing thing. So let's get really, really powerful here as followers. And let's maybe reject the Americanized notion of consumer Christianity, because that opportunity that we have to consume is going to go away, and then we're going to be left with just God and us, and that's actually a really, really good thing. So I don't know if this was helpful. I hope it was. God bless you guys. We love you. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and take a look at those foundations. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.